This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore. Today's video is brought to you by CuriosityStream. In just a moment, I'm going to talk about an offer to you and my audience that I really believe will benefit you as it has me. I have been a long time CuriosityStream watcher because I am just that much of a glutton for documentaries and nerd stuff. But before I get to that, let's talk about this destruction of documents thing on the part of Donald Trump. I got a clip here I'm going to play of Maggie Haberman talking about in her new book, Donald Trump got caught because he clogged the toilets in the White House. He got caught flushing paper, flushing documents down the toilet that didn't quite go, and they had to call in an engineer to unclog said toilets. Then I'm also going to talk about the National Archives requesting another person, another group, requesting that the DOJ do their job and begin a probe on Donald Trump's handling of documents during his presidency and after his presidency. Before I get to all of that, though, a word from today's sponsor, CuriosityStream. In the depths of the pandemic, I watched a lot of streaming TV. I don't know about you, but I really felt like I consumed everything of value, as well as far too many things of zero value whatsoever. Thankfully, just as I felt my eyes were about to permanently glaze over, I discovered CuriosityStream. CuriosityStream is a subscription streaming service for those people who want to know more. Hailed as the Hulu for historians or Netflix for nerds, CuriosityStream offers thousands and thousands of documentaries and nonfiction releases, all available for less than $2 per month. So throw the streaming garbage out and go get your learn on. Head to curiositystream.com/Dollemore to save 25% off, which comes out to only $14.99 a year. Think of how much cheaper that is than most streaming services. You can't afford not to sign up. CuriosityStream features a huge spectrum of content, from documentaries on ancient insects to series about football. I personally love all the history titles, as well as anything that features David Attenborough. And all the content is available worldwide, so you don't have to worry about getting geo-blocked if you're in the remote part of Nepal. You can just continue watching that documentary about Nepal. CuriosityStream is also available on a ton of platforms: Roku, Android, Chromecast, Apple, and on and on and on. So you can use any device that you like. Join me and upgrade your streaming intake. Click the link below or go to curiositystream.com/Dollemore and save 25% right now on all the quality programming that you can handle. So I'm going to play this clip of Maggie Haberman on CNN just this morning. And I'm going to preface it with a critique. One, I think Maggie Haberman's probably a decent person, but there is something called access journalism. And she had access to Donald Trump, and that is what gave her the ability to write this book. Secondly, it very much bothers me. I criticized Bob Woodward about the things that he kept secret until his book was released. All of the audio of Donald Trump admitting that he knew the coronavirus was deadly, he knew that it was airborne, he knew that it wasn't just the flu. All of that was only released after the book came out. That's a problem. Same here with Maggie Haberman. The details that she's getting ready to lay on us in her book, that Donald Trump was clogging the toilets, she could have revealed that when she knew it, when she found it out. Instead, we're finding out now. Here she is from this morning talking about Donald Trump trying to flush documents that we'll probably never know what they were down the toilet.
Maggie, we start with the toilet. Tell us what you learned.
Good morning, guys. Thanks for having me. So as I was reporting out this book, I learned that staff in the White House residence would periodically find the toilet clogged. The engineer would have to come and fix it. And what the engineer would find would be wads of, clumped up wet printed paper, meaning it was not toilet paper. This was either notes or some other piece of paper that, they believed that he had thrown down the toilet. What it could be, Brianna, could be anybody's guess. It could be Post-its. It could be notes he wrote to himself. It could be other things we don't know, but it certainly does add, as you said, another dimension to what we know about how he handled material in the White House. We have known for several years, since my colleague Annie Carney broke the story, that Trump was ripping up pieces of paper and that his staff was having to tape it back together for archival purposes. This is how he has handled documents and pieces of paper all his life in terms of ripping them up. But this was something different, and it was not, as I was told, an isolated incident.
Several times. Several times, Maggie?
This was something that they would periodically find this to be the case. You know, the exact number, John, I'm not certain of, but it was not just once.
And his toilet, like no mistaking whose toilet it was.
It was in the pipes. I mean, it was in the pipes, and this was his bathroom. So yes.
Periodically, meaning multiple times. There would be, I mean, imagine, let's get on the ground with this. Let's not have a 30,000-foot view. Let's get on the ground with this. What would be a justification for, rather than throwing the piece of paper into the wastebasket that absolutely is sitting next to the toilet in the White House, they're not slumming it without a bathroom trash, it's the White House. What would be the purpose of, rather than throwing it into the wastebasket, which is right there, trying to flush it down the toilet? This is concealment. There's no other way to look at this. Again, we should have known about this when Donald Trump was in office. But journalists oftentimes, sometimes, too often, let's say, choose to write books and withhold things that, for whatever reason. But this brings to me the question, remember that video of Donald Trump talking about there's places where there's plenty of water. It's rushing out to sea so much that you can't even handle it. People are having to flush the toilets 10 or 15 times. His obsession with sinks and showers and toilets. Maybe this is because he's such a dumb shit that he's trying to flush paper down the, literal paper down the toilet, and it's not going, and he thinks it's the water pressure, not the fact that it's paper. Remember this moment.
We have a situation where we're looking very strongly at sinks and showers and other elements of bathrooms where you turn the faucet on in areas where there's tremendous amounts of water, where the water rushes out to sea because you could never handle it, and you don't get any water. You turn on the faucet, you don't get any water. They take a shower and water comes dripping out, just dripping out, very quietly dripping out. People are flushing toilets 10 times, 15 times, as opposed to once. They end up using more water. So EPA is looking at that very strongly, at my suggestion.
Again, with the strongly, everything's done strongly. Just for edification's sake, let's read this and let's rejoice that we don't have to listen to a president not able to speak English correctly. Looking very strongly at sinks and showers and other elements of bathrooms where you turn the faucet on in areas where there's tremendous amounts of water, where the water rushes out to sea because you could never handle it. So much water, it rushes out to sea because you could never handle it. President of the United States, everybody. People are flushing toilets 10 times, 15 times, as opposed to once. 10 times, 15 times, as opposed to once. Is this why Donald Trump was so upset? Everybody in my circles and everybody that I witnessed with any analysis about this or commentary about this was perplexed at his obsession. Because I don't know anybody who has that low a water pressure on such a level that we need to strongly look at it. Very bizarre. The other thing is this headline from the Washington Post. The National Archives asked Justice Department to investigate Trump's handling of White House records. The request came amid revelations that officials recovered 15 boxes of material from the former president's Mar-a-Lago residence that weren't handed back to the government as they should have been. Now, I'm going to read a little bit from this, but I'm going to preface it because this is the most important thing to me. Here we are, yet another request from an official government agency this time. The National Archives and Records Administration has now forwarded a request to the Justice Department. The same Justice Department that I've been screaming about for over a year now. Where are they? Why are they not investigating Donald Trump? The many, many crimes, not just the obstruction from the Mueller report, not just the insurrection, but why not this? Where's Merrick Garland? What's he going to do about this? Is he going to ignore the National Archives and Records Administration, who is charged with the preservation of to adhere to the Presidential Records Act that Donald Trump is just flagrantly violating? Is he ignore them too? Because he's certainly ignoring the will of the American people. The National Archives and Records Administration has asked the Justice Department to examine Donald Trump's handling of White House records, sparking discussions among federal law enforcement officials about whether they should investigate the former president for a possible crime, according to two people familiar with the matter. The referral from the National Archives came amid recent revelations that officials recovered 15 boxes of materials from the former president's Mar-a-Lago residence in Florida that were not handed back to the government as they should have been, and that Trump had turned over other White House records that had been torn up. Archives officials suspected Trump had possibly violated laws concerning the handling of government documents, including those that might be considered classified, and reached out to the Justice Department. The people were familiar with the matter said. So we're talking about potentially classified materials just in some random boxes at Mar-a-Lago where anybody might stumble upon them. Who knows what level of classification, because it's not just unclassified and classified. There are many steps on the chain to top secret and beyond, and the president has access to everything. But let me tell you, while a president can declassify at will material, a former president, an ex-president, has no such authority. Trump's years-long defiance of the Presidential Records Act, which requires the preservation of memos, letters, notes, emails, faxes, and other written communications related to a president's official duties, has long raised concern among historians and legal observers. His penchant for ripping up official documents was first reported by Politico in 2018, but it has drawn new scrutiny in recent weeks because of a House Select Committee's investigation of January 6, 2021, and the attack on the United States Capitol. The Washington Post reported late last month that some of the White House records that the National Archives turned over to the committee appeared to have been torn apart and then taped back together. The Post later found, and the archives confirmed, that officials had recovered 15 boxes of presidential records from Mar-a-Lago. And then we'll finish with this, which is what was in the documents that I've already talked about. Well, I'll just tell you, I don't have to read it. The note from Obama that is traditionally left from one president to the next in the White House. Took that. Took the love letters that he called them love letters from Kim Jong-un, the brutal, murderous dictator in North Korea. Among other things. There were some garments, some pieces of clothing. Those are the things of note that we know about. But what else was in the 15 boxes? If there were classified materials, it is against the law to mishandle classified material. So do your job, Merrick Garland. That is the overall theme of today's video. Do your job, Merrick Garland. If your hands are cold, get gloves, because you need to get to work and quit sitting on them. Donald Trump committed many, many crimes while president of the United States, including obstruction of justice. And there is very likely any seasoned prosecutor would be able to bring a case of conspiracy, seditious conspiracy against Donald Trump for organizing and orchestrating a failed attempt to overthrow the United States government. Anyway, same things I've been talking about for a year, and I'd love to know what you think. You can call, leave me a brief voicemail, 714-576-4054. Of course, you can email me daily at dollemore.com. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much as I try to get organized here. Follow me on social media. I would absolutely love to connect with you there. It can be a good time for you more than me. I'm the one getting screamed at on the social media, but you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. And if I bring you a little bit of value, if I bring you $2 worth of value every month, please consider supporting what I do here, producing my videos. You can click the join button below this video, become a channel member for $1.99 a month, or you can go over to patreon.com/IDoubtIt podcast. Both of those ways support what I do here. Patreon is not just for the podcast. It absolutely is a source of funding to grow what we're doing here. The reason we moved to Washington, D.C. was to have better proximity to these people. And as soon as we are able to move about more freely without fear of getting COVID, we will be out there on the streets doing far more than just talking in a studio. Anyway, I love you guys. I appreciate you. I'll see you next time. Until I do, be genuine. Take care of one another.